Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today I'm excited to bring you my Week 8 match in the Pokemon Premier League, the PPL. Yes indeed. Now, last week we faced down one of our big rivals in the form of Fredford, and the Borussia Doublade came away with a handy 5-0 win that propelled us up to second in the table at the end of Week 7. Which is a really exciting prospect, and it really put our sort of title dream back on track. But to carry them through, it was important to get a good result from this game in Week 8. And that was going to be tough, because my Week 8 match was against the Trojan Horsea and the Wycombee Wanderers. Got a bit of an itchy nose, which I keep itching it. Now, the Wycombee Wanderers. A similar team in build-up to Ellie's Teddington Teddiursas, who of course we lost to back in Week 6. And you know, as I say, they've got this similar build-up because they've got nasty bulk, both got nasty bulk, and both got something that I really fear, which is the powerful physical fire-type attacker. Troy, the Trojan Horsea, made one of the most shrewd purchases of the entire league. In the last transfer window, he picked up Entei. And within its first 2 games, I think, it had got like 6 kills, which was mental. So, you know, I was really afraid of that. My team doesn't deal well with fast, physical, fire-type attackers. And to compound that, he's got things like Mew, which is just so difficult to read. You never know what it's going to do until it gets on the field. He's got Suicune, which is just ridiculously bulky. He's got Skarmory, who can set up hazards and take hits all day, every day. Things like Weezing and Hitmontop and Xatu, they're just tricky. They're difficult to deal with. They take hits really well. Like, better than you might think, especially in the case of Xatu. So I was going to have to put together a team that I thought it was just going to be difficult, because I'd have to set aside certain things for certain threats, which is never a good thing. You want to have things to cover as many bases as possible. But in the case of things like Entei, I needed specific things that could then maybe fulfill a secondary role if needs be. So with that in mind, I'm going to go over the team I brought. So, first up, I went with Zapdos. I wanted something that was fairly fast, nice and powerful, that could also take a hit or 2. Zapdos really fits the bill. Obviously it's got those very nice base attacks across the board. We are going with, I'm looking to the side because that's where my rundown of my EVs and stuff is. We've got this this bulky special attacking Zapdos, max HP, max special attack, modest nature, rocking the moves Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice, Defog and Roost. Volt Switch obviously very nice for stab and getting that all important initiative. Troy's only got 1 electric immunity in the form of Golurk, who I can sort of work around with Hidden Power Ice. Helped along by the fact that this is an expert belt Zapdos, just to be powering up those moves as much as possible. They have very nice coverage across the board. Defog, incredibly useful given that he's got a Magic Bouncer and one of the premier hazard setters in the form of Skarmory. Roost, very nice on sort of bulky Zapdoses of any description, just to stick around for as long as possible. So second up, we have Whimsicott. Yes, I'm bringing back Whimsicott. This was something of a specialist set. It was there really to deal with the Suicune. Very important that I had something for Crocoon, because if I let that thing set up, it could be an enormous problem. Very difficult to take down a Crocoon once it's set up. So, my Whimsicott set, I was rocking Encore, Leech Seed, Psychic and Giga Drain, max HP, 136 in speed, everything else piled into special defense with a nominal 4 in special attack. Now that speed was there to outspeed Jolly Entei, just in case, God forbid, I needed to get off a last ditch hit with Whimsicott on the Entei. Feeling fairly certain I could take an E-speed. Whimsicott's got decent natural physical defense. I invested in special defense in case the Suicune had Ice Beam. Psychic hits a lot of his mons quite hard that Giga Drain doesn't. I'm thinking things like the Weezing. Again, looking down here, you've got the Rotom-Cut. The Hitmontop, it's very nice for that. So that's what we're there for. You know, Encore and Leech Seed, very nice things to have against a Crocoon. If nothing else, if I get it in on the right move, it'll force it to switch out, because Encore can really cripple it if I lock it into Calm Mind and then just do what the hell I want with it. So third up, I went with Mega-Gallade. The captain has returned. It's my standard one, spread-wise. Jolly nature, max attack, max speed. Moves I'm rocking: Close Combat, Earthquake, Knockoff, and Shadow Sneak. Close Combat, obviously there, very nice for the stab. It hits a lot of things fairly hard. Usually, actually looking at his team, it doesn't hit all that many things super effectively. It doesn't hit anything super effectively. It hits none of his monsters super effectively, but it's his best stab move, of course. Earthquake, very nice for the Entei. Once again, I was very afraid of the Entei. But with Gallade, I knew that if it was banded, I outsped, and if it was scarfed, it couldn't one-shot me. So at least I'd be able to get off a big amount of damage with the Earthquake, and maybe follow up with a Shadow Sneak. Knockoff, obviously just there, because Knockoff is very useful. But Gallade can put in a decent amount of work once I get rid of any Scarfers on his team. So fourth up, I went with Gyarados, and this was a little bit of a risk that I felt like I had to take. Because we've got Intimidate Gyarados, Adamant Nature, Dragon Dance, Waterfall, Crunch, and Sub. Waterfall and Crunch I felt were my best options for hitting things. Crunch hits a lot of things on his team. I'm looking at Mew, the Xatu, the Golurk. Not that I need that with Waterfall, but you know, it still hits things. It hits the Rotom for decent damage. I expected him to expect me to bring a defensive Gyarados for that Entei. But defensive Gyarados doesn't take the hits from Entei as well as I'd like. Certainly not if he predicts me and goes for like a Stone Edge. That's going to be the end of Gyarados, whatever happens. So I sort of had to take the risk, go with an offensive build, and, you know, hope that I could deal with the Entei in whatever way I can. Speaking of which, the fifth member of my team is Registeel, and this is a very special Registeel. What we've got here is a max HP, max special defense, careful nature. The moves are Stealth Rock, Thunder Wave, Iron Head, and Counter. The item is an Occa Berry. This is what I want to take down Entei. Occa Berry allows me to take a hit, the fire type hit, and ideally, especially if he's not max HP, I can then get off a counter and just take out the Entei. The Entei is the #1 threat to my team. I have a couple of things on there that cannot take a hit from it, and a few things that really don't want to, as well as not having much, if anything, that can one-shot it. Entei, as well as being very powerful, is fairly bulky, base 115 HP, and fairly high defenses. It's not something to mess with. So this is my designated gimmick on the team, is Occa Berry counter Registeel. And if I can get him to bring in Entei on my Registeel, so that he doesn't suspect anything, I might be able to take it out with a counter. It's going to be situational, and it's going to be hard to pull off, but we'll have to see if it works. So, moving on to the final member of my team, I decided to bring back Meloetta. This is the Meloetta that I've used before. It's max HP, 130, no sorry, it was going to be 132 special attack and 124 special defense, but the difficulty with genning Meloetta is it's just nearly impossible. So I went back to my old one, 92 special attack, 164 special defense. Moves we are rocking are Psychic, Hyper Voice, Shadow Ball, and Thunderbolt with that modest nature. Meloetta, this Assault Vest, by the way, before I forget that. Meloetta eats up the special hits. You know, Mega-Gardevoir is not a threat to it. Xatu really isn't much of a threat to it. The Rotom-Cut, I think if it's modest specs, its Leaf Storm does maybe 45%. So Meloetta is there to tank those special hits. It has the Thunderbolt for the Suicune. Its Hyper Voice is hitting things very hard. The Shadow Ball can very much 3-hit KO an offensive Gardevoir, and possibly one with defensive investment as well. So yeah, that's Meloetta, basically just there for those special attacks. Now, that's my team. Let's move on and see about Troy, the Trojan Horsea. Now his squad: Mew, Suicune, Entei, Skarm, Mega-Gardevoir, Rotom-Cut, Weezing, Hitmontop, Xatu, and Golurk. Now, looking at the team he decided to bring, we have Xatu, Entei, Mew, Rotom-Cut, Suicune, and the Mega-Gardevoir. Mainly things that I thought he would bring. I wasn't sure if he'd bring the Xatu, I thought he might want to hazard stack with the Skarm instead of that. Everything else pretty much fitted into what I thought he would. I knew the Entei and the Suicune were both going to be there, because as I say, Entei is an enormous problem to my team, and Suicune can be an enormous problem to any team if it gets set up. The Mew, that was going to be a difficult one to take down simply because I'd have to work out what it did, and I didn't bring my Dusclops with Frisk, nor did I bring my Noivern with Frisk, so I'm not going to know what item the Mew has, nor the Entei, until basically it could be too late. So that's a risk I felt like I had to take. I couldn't justify bringing a Mon specifically for Frisk when I had these 6 that I knew I needed to do the job. So, those are the teams, those are the players. Without any further ado, let's get into the battle and see how things played out. So, starting off the battle, Troy is issuing his challenge. I'm going to lead with Zapdos, trying to bluff the Scarf set, which is a nice lead. He's going to lead off with his Mega-Gardevoir. This is fine, I know what I have to do here, and I certainly know that if he's not invested in speed, I will outspeed him on the first turn. And that will also, you know, help to bluff that Scarf. So, he's going to Mega Up, of course, become that powerful, shiny Mega-Gardevoir. This is fine for me. I am going to be able to go for that Volt Switch. And looking at the damage it does, I was thinking this is a bulky set. Maybe it's much like me, max HP, max special attack. My go-to switch to this is the Meloetta. It can take any hit this thing's going to go for. And he goes for Will-O-Wisp. He is a fully, specially defensive and very bulky set, which I was not expecting and kind of put me on the back foot, because I wasn't sure how much my attacks would be doing. He's here going to go for the Wish, as I go for the Shadow Ball, which is my best move to hit this thing. And as you can see from the damage, it's not bad. Is it 2-hit KO? Possibly. With the special defense drop it is. Here, however, is where I'm going to make a very early play. I predict him to go into the Entei. He can pass a Wish into it, he can take a hit and get his Wish back, and start firing off hits. I predict that, and I'm going to go into my Registeel. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but I figured Registeel is a decent switch into Mega-Gardevoir anyway, so it might look like that's what I'm doing. So, predicting him to go into the Entei, I go into Registeel. And he goes for the Sacred Fire. And it turns out he is banded, and he does big damage to the Registeel, not killing because of the Occa Berry, and I'm going to go for the counter. And I'm going to get off the counter, and in one fell swoop, Troy's biggest threat is gone. Entei is gone. Registeel doing exactly what I needed it to, and I was so relieved when that happened. So now he's going to bring in the Suicune, just to try and start doing nasty things to me, I guess, but I do have my designated go-to switch. Whenever Suicune's on the field, I'm going in to show my Whimsicott. And he goes for the Calm Mind, showing that he is in fact that nasty Crocoon set. Max defense, max HP, Scald Rest, Calm Mind, Sleep Talk were his moves. But he can't stay on this. He knows I have the Encore, but I can't afford not to go for it. He's going to go for the Xatu here, and rather entertainingly, he's going to Magic Bounce back the Encore, which is not going to do anything. I obviously can't touch this thing. My 2 moves are very much resisted. So, going to go into Zapdos, just to try and threaten it as much as possible early game. But Troy is a better player than that. He knows that I'm going to go into this, and he goes into his Mew. And now I start to get the opportunity to see what it's going to do. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp. Very interesting. He fully outspeeds. He's of the same base speed as me. And this actually does quite a lot of damage, this Volt Switch. And I was looking at thinking, is this Scarf Will-O-Wisp? So, I'm going to test the waters, go into my Gyarados, and instantly double back into my Zapdos, just to see if he's going to go for that Willow. Because I am Speedy Gyarados, Speedy McQuick. And we're going to see if he goes for the Willow again, and he does. So I'm now thinking this is a Scarf Mew, and if he switches out, that's going to absolutely confirm it. And he does switch out. So that's confirmed in my mind. He is Scarf Mew with Willow, which is a very interesting thing to run, and actually very effective. So in comes the Rotom-Cut, and I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch. I get a crit, which is unfortunate. It still doesn't do all that much damage. And I'm going to go into Meloetta, who can take, you know, hits from this thing for days, I was hoping, you know, hoping that it would be able to take these hits. He's going to go for the Volt Switch, and it's going to do, you know, not very much. Meloetta tanking these special hits as well as I wanted it to. So in comes the Suicune, which is a problem, you know. I still don't want to let him have the opportunity to set up with it. So, gonna go for the Hyper Voice, which is doing a nice little chunk to Suicune over here. I've gauged that it's physically defensive from that damage. I was running calcs along the way. What he doesn't know is that I packed the Thunderbolt, and this is fairly crucial, because as you can see it's doing big damage, and he just goes for the Scald. I guess just wanting to go for damage on me and not wanting to set up too much with it, knowing that Meloetta's fairly powerful and that it can take special hits all day every day. But that Thunderbolt is going to spook Troy. He's not going to want to stay in. He knows another one will take him out from there. So he's going to go into the Rotom. I should have predicted that, but I just wanted to take out the Suicune. It's too much of a threat. Thunderbolt here obviously not doing anything to this Rotom. So I'm going to make the switch here because I can save Meloetta. I can still get one good hit off on something, I'm pretty sure. It'll be nice for the Suicune for one thing. What I am going to do is go into Registeel, kind of sacking it off here. It's done what it needed to do. And Troy, going to go for that Volt Switch, get the initiative, and go into his Suicune once again. Now, here, I just thought he was going to go for a Calm Mind. Because he's going to get leftovers back, that's fine. Registeel obviously can't do anything to Suicune. I can't touch this thing. And Burn takes me down to, you know, 9 HP. Here, I thought he was going to go for Calm Mind. But Troy is a smart guy, you know, he's better than that, he's a better player than that. He knows this is my last chance to get up rocks, goes into the Xatu to get that Magic Bounce. Which is unfortunate, because now rocks are on my side, Meloetta's dead on switching, Gyarados is taking damage, and Registeel has gone down. Which of course Troy knew was going to happen because of the burn. So what I'm forced to do here is go into Zapdos and take far too much damage for my liking. It's very important that I get this defog off as soon as possible. But I'm pretty sure there's nothing Xatu can do to me, so this should be a free defog. He's going to make the switch into his Rotom-Cut, which is the best thing to take a Volt Switch. And as I say, I'm just going to go for the defog, get rid of those rocks. It's very important that rocks are not up on my side. But I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually have a setter outside of Mew, and I've already ascertained that's probably a Scarf set. So he's going to go for the Volt Switch, and it does a bit too much damage. I'm not happy with the damage that did. Zapdos, I really need to be at a good amount of health. So he's going to go into the Gardevoir, which, as I say, I know this is a sort of a defensive build. I'm going to go for the Hidden Power Ice. It's going to do a nominal amount of damage, not a huge amount. And at this point, he's going to once again withdraw, get his Gardevoir out of there, not wanting to take a Volt Switch. He's going to go into the Mew, as indeed I do go for the Volt Switch. But this is doing a lot of damage, and Mew is taking too much damage for his liking as well. So at this point, I'm going to go into my Gallade, because it's at the range where Shadow Sneak will take it out, especially if it's not a bulky Mew, which it isn't. So this is a free Mega and a free KO for Gallade, basically. And that's exactly what happens. I go for the Mega, I'm not going to be burned by not having priority. He was obviously scarfed going for Willow there, looking to cripple my Mega-Gallade as much as possible. But I go for the Shadow Sneak, Mew goes down, and we're looking in a fairly decent position, but he has passed around status on my team. At this point, he's going to go into his Rotom, go for the Volt Switch. It does good damage to Gallade. Gallade's got base 115 special defense, I think. That does a fair old amount. And he's going to go into the Xatu on my close combat. I went for it knowing that it would take out the Rotom, and now I'm confirmed that he has Rotom scarfed as well as the Mew. Now, I have absolutely no interest in staying in on this thing. If it is defensive, the knockoff won't take it out. So I'm going to go into my Gyarados for, I think, the first time. Get the Intimidate off, which obviously doesn't do anything. He's going to go for the Thunder Wave, so I'm very glad I switched out my Gallade. Wouldn't have been able to take it out, possibly. And I didn't want to take a paralysis on it. Gallade's going to be very important to me, I'm pretty sure, in the endgame. So he's going to make the switch into his Rotom-Mow, as Gyarados just going to go for the Crunch, which is doing nice damage to the Rotom-Mow, and I get the defense drop, which is pretty nasty. It's just another bit of hacks that Troy really didn't need. But at this point, I do feel it's time to sack off Meloetta. I know the Volt Switch is incoming, so that defense drop really didn't matter all that much. He's going to be able to go for the Volt Switch, take out Meloetta, which is unfortunate for my differential, but it does mean I get the initiative on Switch. So in comes the Xatu. I, of course, am just going to go into my Zapdos, threaten this thing as much as possible, and he doesn't want to take the hit. He needs this Xatu for the Gallade. So he's going to go into the Suicune, continuing his running theme of switching in Suicune on legendary electric types, but it does give me the opportunity to go for the Roost, which is really nice. Zapdos back at a much healthier range of HP. He's going to get leftovers back, which is fine. I'm going to take a little bit more burn damage to put me at just under half, I believe, after this burn. Yeah, just around half. Anyway, I can go for the Volt Switch here, and that max investment in Expert Belt means it is going to take out the Suicune, so that's yet another annoying thing on Troy's team. Finally out of my way. Really happy to see the back of Suicune. Never nice going up against that kind of thing. So I'm going to go into Whimsicott. I know that whatever I switch in will bait in something to give him an advantage, and I knew if I went into Whimsicott it would be the Xatu. So what I do here is just double straight out, don't want Whimsicott going up against Xatu, and I go into the Gyarados, who can take hits pretty effectively. It's got nice special bulk, and he reveals he does have the Air Slash, so he's kind of a Paraflinch set, which is fine, you know, it's very effective at what it does, and Xatu is nothing to sleep on using it. So he's going to go for the Air Slash once again. I am not going to get parried. I go for the Crunch and he reveals the Colbur Berry. Once again, Colbur Berry, which has been a big item this season so far, coming through again, this time for the Xatu. Unfortunately, I get another defense drop. So once again, I'm kind of haxing Troy out a little bit here, getting defense drops all over the place. He's going to go for an Air Slash, looking desperately for that Paraflinch, but unfortunately he's not going to get it. And this Crunch from the Gyarados is going to take out the Xatu. Looking at the Xatu's set, it was a very, very bulky set, with enough speed, I think, to speed creep. I can't remember what he was speed creeping, it might have actually been this Gyarados. Anyway, he's going to go into his Rotom, and at this point I am going to just let Gyarados go. I don't want to switch anything in to give him initiative. So Gyarados has got a KO, and it's going to go down here to the Rotom. So he's going to have to withdraw the Rotom and go into all he has left, which is his Gardevoir. And for me, this is an easy switch into my Gallade. I know at this kind of range that a Shadow Sneak will take it out. It does a massive amount of damage for such a weak move. So here comes the Shadow Sneak. That's going to be the end of Gardevoir. And now all Troy has left is a Rotom without one move to hit all the rest of my mons. So I'm going to go for the Shadow Sneak here. I actually miscount this horribly. It doesn't come anywhere close to taking out the Rotom in one. And he goes for the trick on my Gallade. And I'll explain that as I go for the Shadow Sneak, which is going to take out the Rotom. And that is in fact going to be the end of the game, granting me the 3-0 victory. So that was the game. Really good game. Troy, Trojan Horsea. That play at the end with the trick, you know, he kind of had to do that. The moves he was rocking other than Trick were Leaf Storm, Volt Switch, and looking down the list, I think I'm right in saying Hidden Power Ice. And I had Zapdos, Gallade, and Whimsicott left. Hidden Power Ice just isn't really powerful enough. He had to go for the Trick to really give himself the best chance of winning, hoping that I would switch out. As it was, I didn't. I just stayed in with Gallade, go for the Shadow Sneak and do as much damage as possible. And it does end up giving me the 3-0. So, as I said, great game to the Trojan Horsea. His links will be down in the description below, of course. Definitely do go and check him out on his Twitter and his YouTube. You will find his side of this battle on his channel, as well as all his other PPL battles, and various series on his channel, including Trojan Talks and the Poketuber Spotlight, which are both fantastic series. I highly encourage you to go and check him out. Give him your time, give him your subscription if you really can. Other links down in the description, of course. You will find the Twitter and YouTube of the PPL. You know, to keep up to date with all things PPL, definitely check out those. You'll see the Meet the Manager videos, find out all the people who are involved, and it will basically just serve as your base for all your PPL news that you might need. So, as I say, that's going to be it from this battle and indeed this video. Things putting in work on my team, you know. Registeel, that play was absolutely clutch. Probably, as I say, the best play I've made in this league. Bringing in the Registeel, predicting that Entei, and being able to take it out early game really changed the face of the game. and other things putting in work as much as they could. You know, Meloetta tanking hits, Zapdos doing much the same, Gallade helping to clean up. Now, I'm not going to reveal where this has put us on the table. Suffice to say, it is close at the top. Very close indeed. It's very much still a multi-horse race. There are many people who can still win this competition in its first season. So, definitely stay tuned as we continue our rush to the top. Now, our next game is going to be another difficult one. It is against the Miami Rotom Heat and their interim manager, Jedi Cadet. He has taken over, of course, for the rest of the season, I believe, from Ethan Erasmus. Both of them are excellent trainers, excellent battlers. The team is going to be very difficult to take down. It's quite tricksy, and there's a lot of powerful threats that threaten me quite badly. So, going to have my work cut out, but I really do want to get another win. It's very important to keep the pressure up on the rest of the pack and, you know, keep going for the top. So, thank you very much for watching. Keep supporting Parasect Germain, guys. We are going for the top. We are going to get there. My final thank you for watching, and I guess with that, I will see you all next time. Laters.